Hello everyone, welcome to the next Starknet full node call. I hope you all are doing well today. So before we begin, can you all hear me clearly? Like, please just give me a thumbs up or say yes, maybe. Okay, so great, thank you. And let's start with our agenda for today. First up, we have updates on Starknet version 0.13.3 readiness. So who would like to start by giving us a brief overview of where we stand with the new block hash and gas price handling implementation? And also, let's confirm the timelines for version 0.13.3 integration, testnet, and mainnet. So who would like to go in first? Maybe Kirill? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Kirill.
So yeah, we haven't started yet anything related to new block hash, but we almost finished all our PC endpoints. So there are 3 of them, and they're all in DPRs in review stage. And also we started working on several WebSocket new endpoints. I wouldn't say that we will complete it by the next full node clients call, but I believe that some of them will be merged already. Yeah, this is our current status.
Okay. Anyone else next? Maybe for anyone from Kesa?
Yes, we are still in the same stage of building our sequencer, not focusing on the 0.13.3, but we have great news. We just implemented our feeder gateway, which is compatible with the latest specs. So anyone can, a Madara node, Pathfinder, and Juno node can sync from our feeder gateway. We just started the 0.80 integration, but nothing to say yet. We have dropped some comments on the get proof endpoint, and yeah, it's going fine. We will start implementing the WebSocket endpoint so we can catch up.
Okay. So, I mean, guys, can we update on the timelines as well for integration, testnet, and mainnet?
Yeah. So there are no definite timelines yet. We'll communicate them as soon as we know more, like communicating formally. We do, however, plan to do integration in some time in beginning of November. It's pretty vague on what that means, but first 2 weeks. And for the rest, we'll probably do 1 month of integration and then at least 1 month in Sepolia testnet. And then have the mainnet upgrade, which will be sometime in early January, probably. So yeah, still some time to get definite timelines. And another thing that's worth mentioning is that, I mean, the main work at the moment in the for the upcoming version is integration with Cairo native. It may be that when we upgrade integration, not all the like integration with native will be completed. So there may be upgrades during the integration timeline, but we think that's probably better to give client teams something to work with, even if it's not like fully upgraded to the final stage. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, makes sense. So anyone else want to give an update on the readiness? Maybe. Okay, so no one, I believe. So thank you for those updates. So anyone have any questions, cross questioning before we move on? Anything, Nikolai?
Actually, yes. Antira, question. Your latest feeder gateway module, is it available as a Docker image?
Yeah. So the feeder gateway is native from our sequencer, so you can just use our last deployed Docker image, run it. If you need any help, you need to run it on sequencer mode or DevNet mode if you want pre-funded accounts, or you can even just synchronize as a full node and then switch for just to synchronize some states. So then you can just test it with Juno.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's available as a Docker image. I can give you a hand if you struggle running it.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, guys, like if we can communicate all these things as well on the GitHub issue where the agenda is present, I mean, it would be good for everyone to see it. I mean, then so let's discuss like the P2P integration progress. So anyone who would like to go in and share the latest on cross-client compatibility and testing?
I will maybe update on behalf of Pathfinder because they are not present in the call. So the update is that they have implemented the new block hash calculation on all blocks for P2P sync. So their endpoint should be ready to be tested, played with to sync even on all blocks. Yeah.
Okay. Juno, anyone?
Yeah, one
Okay.
one note from oh sorry, Kirill, first you go first.
Yeah, question to Leonardo. Is this feature in some branch or it's was already merged into the main Pathfinder with new hashes?
Good question. I think it's merged, but yeah, I may be wrong.
Okay, let me check with them like in Slack channel. Thanks.
A small update on the P2P integration on the Nethermind side. We have made some attempts and we want to continue to build a live compatibility dashboard kind of a thing. So we want to have a mechanism which is able to run the cross-client testing scenarios and just to have the results displayed online, right? So that we have an online view of the cross-client compatibility. So it's like a very early stage, but I would expect this to yield a mechanism which we could then use either to show it on Nethermind repos or maybe even on Starknet.io if that's useful. So just a heads up that we will be working on this.
Yeah,
You know?
okay.
Yeah, just a small comment regarding the same feature on Juno side that Pathfinder has implemented. We also implemented this, but it was in pending PR. So I guess once we figure out which version of Pathfinder should we use, we can start testing it. And by the way, last week we double checked all the new hashes for all blocks, and seems like everything is correct. So I assume everything should be flawless.
So any update from Kaser on cross-client compatibility?
Regarding P2P, we don't have compatibility. We don't have any client yet. Yeah, as I said, we are focusing on our sequencer. By the way, we should be production ready this month. So starting with Pragma Chain. So yeah, we are mostly focusing on that, and we hope to catch up at some point for the P2P client.
Okay. So any concerns or cross-questioning that anyone want to do for P2P, maybe? Okay. So we'll move on to the consensus topic. So I believe like Denisa, could you walk us through the recent implementation progress?
Well, yeah, I would start maybe with the research part, and maybe Mikola can also, or Annie can help me out with the implementation details. So towards the end of last week, I managed to publish my rebuttal on the research with SOS blocks that aim to help the protocol to recover from unprovable blocks, which is in the way of liveness for the protocol. So I showed using a simple diagram how you can use during consensus SOS blocks and how blocks that are built on top of the SOS block, like the next, if we have assume we have K proof chains in the protocol, the next K minus one or something like this blocks can piggyback actually the proofs that they are already included in the blocks that are between the unprovable block and the SOS block. And just playing with the CK proofs, we can show that actually you can avoid forks in case of unprovable blocks, and the chain still you can still continue building blocks on the chain without deleting the part that is affected by having an unprovable block until you get an SOS block. So all you need to do is that the applications have to roll back the state to the state before the unprovable block. So I think that's the least invasive solution that you can provide for dealing with unprovable blocks. I'm looking forward to hear thoughts on this work and how it can be hopefully adopted in the protocol. We are doing experiments on how we can build the ZK proofs that you need to add in the SOS blocks, but the parts around consensus and how the protocol can revive from this, I think it's quite easy. And moreover, the L1 state update is not affected. I've shown in the diagram how you can still have the same mechanism for computing the L1 state update by merging the ZK proofs that you can find in the last blocks that were proved from each proof chain, right? So yeah, that's on the research side. Now on the implementation side, I think Anik will be more fitted to give more updates where we are basically doing the same as informal system. We are starting to implement Tendermint, and then we will add the part which are tailored for the Starknet protocol. Yeah, and Anik, maybe you want to give more updates on this?
Yeah, hi guys. I think we are still, well, I'm still trying to wrap up things around the initial engine, so mostly adding unit tests. So I think majority of the algorithm has been implemented. So just making sure that the states, well, the important states have been tested, and I think we should be able to wrap that up hopefully by next week. And after that, the plan is to start using our sequencer to start beginning to propagate blocks and arriving at consensus using that. So yeah, that's a long-term plan. I think that's all.
Cool.
Yeah, and I would just like to add that we are also planning to have, as I said, meetings with informal system to sync on the progress and to address this issue of the slashing conditions for the protocol, because, well, I know that Starkware wants minimal slashing conditions, which I think from an economic perspective makes a lot of sense in order to incentivize the stakers to join the network. But there are I'm aware of at least one slashing condition that you need in order not to break consensus. And yeah, I think this should also be looked at.
Yeah, Leo.
I have a question about the implementation. Like one of the key components of the recovery protocol is to do a Cairo run and then prove it in a ZK VM. Like, how do you plan to do that? Have you done, like, is it small enough for that? How are you gonna do that?
Yeah, we try to break it in smaller chunks, and we are still experimenting with that. We came across a similar approach recently done by some other team, and we want to explore the protocol that they used and the approach that they use. So we are even more optimistic than we were 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I will keep you updated on. I know the limitation of the Cairo of the ZK VMs, and we will try to see how we can not rely on this limitation and find the different tricks to solve it.
Yeah, please keep us updated because this is pretty interesting.
Yep, for sure.
Thanks.
I think at this moment that's the only okay, if we overcome this part with actually being able to run a Cairo run or some part of, or the identify, which is the minimal part in Cairo run that you need in order to build that trace, and be able to either run it in a ZK VM or produce a ZK proof for that. That's the only ingredient that we are missing at this point.
Got it.
Thanks.
Okay. So we have a little less time. So let's move on to the next topic, which is RPC standardization efforts that other teams are doing. So anyone wants to go in for that? Okay, so I believe no one is there. So next on our list is addressing discrepancies between client implementations. So what are the main issues that we are currently focusing on right now, which has been any notable progress in them, anything? Okay, so we would move on to the next topic. So that is staking and stage 2 preparations that we are doing. So first, can we get an update from the SNF compliance testing team? Anyone who can share an update from there? So is okay. So I believe no one is in the call. So then staker node activity and monitoring approach. Any developments there?
So actually, I'm looking a little bit at Matteo here because we've been, since our previous call, we've been discussing internally in Nethermind the ideas thrown by Nathan, and we were chatting on what could be the mechanism for the stage 2 of staking, which would allow a reliable monitoring of the staker nodes, which are expected to remain online on the network. So, Matteo, any chance you could just give a quick summary of our thinking process?
Yeah, sure. So, so based on what Nathan said in the last dev meeting, I think that there's a problem on his solution because there's no how we can say node liveness. So there's no mechanism that we can check if the node is running, so is live. And we thought that maybe an interesting part is that we can enable the peer-to-peer network and rely on their node. How it's called? Sorry, Nikolai. The node.
The
node,
peer ID.
node ID.
The
so,
peer ID. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the peer ID. Yeah. So the idea is to rely on these, on this ID, so the peer ID, and the idea is to combine the staker address and the peer ID on a smart contract. So we know that. So in this case, we know that a staker has a node that is running or maybe is running. And we can also check on the peer-to-peer network if the node is running. So like using heartbeat messages or other type of messages.
So basically, what you're saying is that we are considering proposing relying on the P2P messages, which are identified, and that's thanks to the P2P protocol. And there's a concept of the peer ID, which we could bind to the staker ID, and actually based on that and on the traffic on the P2P network, we could sort of check the onlineness status of a staker node, and that would be on top or in addition to what Nathan has proposed, which was the periodic transactions expected to be placed on blockchain by the stakers. So we've been kicking around these ideas internally, and I feel like we may want to just propose them publicly for a public discussion. So just give us some time to hone them and formulate them, and then we'll like to draw you into discussion on this.
Okay, so thank you both. And if anyone wants have any questions or maybe cross questioning with Nikolai or Matteo. Okay, so lastly, like we have got like 5 minutes more. So is there any other business that we would want to discuss? Anyone have anything they would like to bring up? Okay, so all right, it seems that we have covered everything on our agenda today. So thank you all for your time and valuable input today. We have made good progress on several fronts, and I'll be sending out a summary of our discussion and action items shortly. So if you think of anything else after this call, feel free to discuss it on the GitHub issue. And our next call will be in 2 weeks, same time. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
See you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.